Going no contact is always hard, but when you're going no contact with your family members, your parents, your siblings, it's a little more than hard. There's guilt involved, there's various obligation feelings, and there's just getting up the nerve to do it in the first place. So today at queenbeing.com, Ollie Matthews and I are going to talk about going no contact with narcissistic parents and why you do it, how you do it, why you shouldn't feel guilty about it, and exactly how a narcissist tells you exactly who they are. So let's get started. My name's Angie Atkinson, and on this channel, I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and we'll just get going. All right, I'm just going to jump right in here. So the first thing that you have to remember is that we all go through those feelings of guilt, those feelings of obligation, that whole thing with our narcissistic parents, loved ones, relatives, friends, spouses. There's an obligation factor. In my situation, which I talked about in a video, you can check it out right there, the reason I went no contact was directly connected to something the narcissist did regarding my children. In this clip, we're going to talk about guilt and obligation and how it's a little different for everybody. Take a look. In that moment, I remember what I was wearing. I was sitting backward on a chair facing this woman sitting on my couch in my house. Reading this, I literally physically felt something break inside of me. And it was that string of obligation. It was that, you know what I'm talking about? That cord that you always, I don't know if you did, I always
have a guilt. See, you have a guilt cord. I never, ever.
I did.
Felt guilt. I felt hopelessness.
I felt that too.
I never felt guilty. I felt that I couldn't survive without him. But it wasn't guilt.
I had guilt, I guess, but also obligation. You know what I mean?
No, I never felt obligated. I honestly, I knew I wanted them out of my life for a very, very long time.
I think I knew the same thing, but I don't think I ever had the nerve until I realized this bitch just tried to take my kids from me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why I call them Terminators. They don't stop. They will never stop. But the reason it is a blessing is because your mother told you exactly who she is and what she's capable of.
And
Thank
you
for letting me know who you are. Thank you.
That's exactly right.
And look, and it's the same thing I tell people on my channel where they have an incident where the narcissist tells you exactly who they are, or the enabler tells you does you the favor by hanging around the narcissist, knowing full well what they did to you. They're doing you a favor. Because they're telling you, if you ever need me, if push comes to shove, don't come to me. I'm going to throw you under the bus. They're telling you right at the fact, cut me out. They're holding up a sign, cut me out of your life. I'm toxic. They're telling you this. They're telegraphing it to you. They're only doing it because they think you're too weak to do anything about it or too dumb to recognize it. Yeah. That's what they're depending on.
Yeah. You have to remember that narcissists tell you who they are. In this next clip, we're going to talk about what narcissistic abuse leaves you with and how narcissists seem to lie for no apparent reason. Take a look. I guess what it comes down to is that if I hadn't gone through all of that stuff, I wouldn't be who I am. And I didn't really even know exactly who I was until I threw that out of my life.
Yeah. Well, because you grow up being a blank slate. You can't be anything.
Yeah.
They'll lie about anything. They lie about stuff there's no reason to lie about. You wouldn't think to lie about. They just do it. It's a sport to them.
You're so
this
right.
Is like my father. My father will lie about anything. Anything. You ask him what the temperature is, he'll just make it up. Like, why? Why?
Exactly.
The thermometer's next to you. Why are you just yelling out numbers? Can't help himself. Can't help it.
What's the deal with these people? Ollie's going to talk in the next clip here about some of the antics of his narcissist parents and what they went through. So, hey, take a look. Do you think it's because of their inability to see outside their own heads ever? Or do you think
I honestly just don't think they're very bright people to begin with. So, like what they don't have, well, especially my father, what he doesn't have in basic intelligence, he makes up for in bullshit. And salesmanship. He's a very good salesman.
Yeah.
You don't have to be particularly bright to be a good salesman. You got to be a good bullshit artist to be a good salesman. My mother is just an unmitigated disaster. is chaos everywhere she goes.
Yeah.
It's just, you'd have to experience her to really, you can't put her into words until you meet her. And then once you meet her, everybody has said the same thing, like, wow, you went on and on and on. I didn't believe you. And it's worse than I could have ever imagined. The prep work that would have to go into somebody meeting my mother of, you have to understand, anything can come out of her mouth at any second. Any offense, it doesn't matter. You're going to just have to trust me. She turned to my wife, who grew up dirt poor, and we're out on their boat. And we're out on the boat in the bay, and she turns to my wife, okay, who grows up dirt poor, and says, "What do poor people do for fun?" Like,
what?
Yeah. What do poor people do for fun? And she looks at me, and I'm like, and the way that was at their shore house, and that was one of the last times we had saw them before all hell had broken loose. But.
And next, I'm going to share with you a clip from a previous video where I talk about why you shouldn't feel guilty about going no contact if you need to do that. So take a look. Is it okay to go no contact? And if you do go no contact, how do you handle the feelings that come with it? The feelings of fog or fear, obligation, and guilt that typically go with it. First of all, you're afraid to do it because it's scary. Change is scary. Depending on the situation, maybe you've never not been in contact with that person, or you have been in contact with that person for many years and you don't know how to disconnect. Even a few months can be enough to change a person's life. So how do you find your way out of the fear, the obligation, and the guilt that come along with the idea of going no contact? We, as empaths, we tend to think to ourselves, well, if somebody did this to me, I would feel devastated. Or we think it's so selfish to do the no contact rule. We want to know, why is it not morally wrong for us to literally do to them what they've done to us in so many different ways, and that is to discard them? Who are we to discard that person? Well, let's start here. When we're talking about a narcissist, okay, we're talking about someone who blatantly, openly does not care how you feel. We're talking about someone who has no empathy for you and who makes it very obvious in the way that they treat you. Basically, narcissists disrespect you on every single level. They break all your boundaries. They disrespect you as a human being. In fact, they don't even really see you as a whole person. So my answer to people who are like, well, is it morally unethical to go no contact, is no. The answer is no, because narcissists don't respect you in a relationship. Therefore, you don't owe them that respect. Now, if you were in a relationship with someone who did love you and did respect you, did care about you, and it just didn't work out, then yes, you would owe them an explanation. It would be wrong for you to just bounce, right? But when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, they don't show you any concern, empathy, anything, it's not so bad. And I'm going to explain a little more about that. Everybody has their own morals. Everybody has their own sense of what's right and what's wrong, their own ethics. And that's why, as an empath, you sometimes go, is it morally okay for me to really just drop this person and go no contact? It's understandable, because if someone did that to you, you would see it as morally wrong. And it would be. Bear with me, I'm getting there. But here's the thing. Is it not morally wrong to come into a person's life, promise the world, promise everything, act like you're that person's soulmate, put them up on a pedestal and make them feel better than they've ever felt, and then knock them off that pedestal every 5 minutes, discard them after devaluing them and treating them like they don't matter, and then spend the rest of your life doing that same thing in cycles throughout the relationship? Is that not morally wrong? To show you this wonderful person at the beginning and then devalue you and discard you once they get to know you better? Is that not morally wrong? Is it morally wrong for this person to be in a relationship with you and enjoy everything that you do for them and yet not even give back just a little bit? Look, there's nothing morally wrong with you standing up for yourself and insisting on being respected. And unfortunately, when it comes to a narcissist, that is no contact. You will not be respected by a narcissist consistently, only when it's convenient for them. Going no contact with a narcissist allows you the only avenue to let go of that disrespect. But I feel obligated to tell the person why I'm going no contact. I know you're saying that, right? That's what you're thinking? Let me ask you some questions. Well, let's talk about the motives that you feel obligated for. What's behind that for you? Are you telling yourself that you want to tell the narcissist about going no contact because you really want to explain it to them because you think they'll understand? Are you telling them because you don't want to feel selfish Or are you telling the narcissist this because you hope secretly that they'll say, oh, no idea that I was doing that to you. I'm so sorry. Let's get back together, make sure everything's okay. And then suddenly they'll become that perfect person that you've been expecting them to be all of this time. Let's have a reality check real quick, shall we? You already know. When you've been involved with a narcissist, literally every single thing a narcissist does is for the narcissist. Even if it seems like they're helping you out because, like, I don't know, they're paying your phone bill or they're paying your rent at your house or your mortgage or whatever. It's about them. It's about them having control. It's about them getting what they want. It's about them having the things that they want, being in control of the situation. They don't care what we think. They don't care what we want. And yes, their actions frequently contradict with what they say. And that's what you have to look at, as their actions, in addition to the words, of course, because the verbal abuse that comes along with being with a narcissist can be very painful in many cases. Here's the thing. You look at the situation and you go, well, I'm an adult. I allowed this to happen. It's all my fault. No, it's not your fault. It would be your fault if you chose to remain in that situation, knowing what you know and not doing anything differently. Then you could take a certain amount of responsibility. But the truth is, most of us don't come up knowing how to deal with people like this. We aren't in a situation to understand instantly this is a narcissist, this person has no empathy, because it doesn't make sense to us. As empaths, we are wired to react to emotion. We are wired to understand how other people feel and care about how other people feel. Narcissists are not. That is practically foreign to us. That's why we're so confused by it. And that's why we so often think, oh my gosh, I can totally help fix this person, which is why we stick around for so long in some cases. I'm not saying you should go no contact just to go no contact, or just to, just because the narcissist would do it to you without a second thought. It's not about, an eye for an eye or anything like that. I think the most important thing that we have to remember here is that we, as empaths, as individuals, as survivors, and hopefully thrivers after this kind of relationship, we owe it to ourselves to start focusing on ourselves and what we need, because my gosh, the longer you're in a relationship with a narcissist, the less you actually focus on yourself, and it grows and it gets worse and worse and worse as time goes on. The longer time you spend with one, like say you were born to one and then you got with one in a relationship, the longer time you spend as a supply, the less of yourself you know, the less of your true self is able to emerge into the world. It's really easy for us to worry about them because they've been part of our lives for some significant amount of time. It's easy for us to wonder, what are they thinking? What are they doing right now? Should I be concerned about them? But here's the thing you have to remember. I promise you they're not doing the same thing with you unless they're currently obsessing with you because you're not giving them attention. It's unlikely that the narcissist will spend even half or a third of the amount of energy worrying and stressing about you as you have about them. So here's my deal. I just want you to take a big deep breath with me. And I want you to be proud of yourself. Going no contact is hard, but my gosh, it is so worth it. You will find the weight lifted up off of your shoulders that you've previously carried with you. You will find that all of these new understandings about yourself and the world come into play. And you will suddenly be able to see more clearly than you've ever seen before about so many different things. It's outrageous. Be proud of yourself. Embrace no contact. Understand that the narcissist did not give you the privilege of embracing you properly, and they discard you throughout the relationship in a cyclical fashion. Guilt will do you no good now. If you go and you talk to the narcissist, you break your silence and you say, look here, this is why I left you. I just wanted you to know. Or this is why I stopped talking to you. I just wanted you to know. You're not going to help anyone, not even yourself. What you're going to do is open up a new can of worms, more guilt, more obligation, more fear. Now it's time to focus on yourself. Put yourself first. Put your need to grow and develop your self-esteem now. This is the time. And I'm not talking about like, in high school, the little self-esteem pamphlet. I'm talking about real, live, raw, naked self-love. Now this brings me to the question of the day. And the question of the day is, have you felt what we discussed? Did you relate more to my story, more to Ollie's story? Share your thoughts, share your ideas, and your experiences in the comment section below, and let's talk about it. I've got more videos for you on no contact in the description below, so make sure you take a look at that. All right, that's all I've got for you right now. As always, thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life, and hey, thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. I'll see you soon. It's my mission to teach others what I know to be true. You really can create the life you want. Take care of your body, take care of your soul, nurture the real you, and introduce him or her to the world. Be comfortable in your own skin and in your place in this world. Take your spot, take it now, and the universe will take its cue from you. You feel me? If so, subscribe to my channel. Let's get it done together.